What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some big news going on here today, including a new judgment on former President Donald Trump and impeachment, possibly for current President Biden. Let's jump right in. We also have the ex-Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio was sentenced to 22 years in prison for his role in January 6th. 22 years. That's a lot. Yeah, Enrique Tarrio, former national chairman of the right-wing Proud Boys, was sentenced on Tuesday to 22 years in prison after being convicted of spearheading the plot to stop the certification of 2020 election results, is what they said in the January 6th attack. His sentence is the highest handed down to anyone in connection to what happened on January 6th to date, I believe. Before handing down the sentence, in his U.S. District Judge Timothy Calley said he would not grant the full 33-year sentence sought by federal prosecutors, but would grant a higher sentence than other extremist members in hopes that it would act as a deterrent. Wow. So that is 22 years. That is a significant part of anybody's lifetime. You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. There was also the Oath Keepers leader, Stuart Rhodes, was sentenced in May to 18 years in prison, and Proud Boys leader Ethan Nordine, one of Tarrio's lieutenants, received the same sentence last week, I believe, of also 18 years in prison. Quote, Kelly said, that day broke our previously unbroken tradition of peacefully transferring power, which is truly among the most precious thing that we had as Americans. That previously unbroken tradition is broken now. It's going to take time and effort to fix that. Wow. Also, is America ready for another impeachment? Kevin McCarthy thinks maybe so. I'll get to that here in a moment. We just had a new verdict come down here as a judge says former President Donald Trump suffers a loss in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case. Yeah, this federal judge ruled here today that former President Donald Trump is civilly liable for defamatory statements he made about writer E. Jean Carroll back in 2019 when she went public with claims that he raped her decades earlier. Judge Lewis Kaplan, as part of the ruling, said upcoming trial for Lewis's lawsuit against Trump will only deal with the question of how much the former president should pay her in monetary damages for defaming her. So the question, I guess, is only how much he will pay her. Normally, a jury would determine at trial whether the defendant is liable for civil damages claimed by a plaintiff. But Kaplan found that Carroll was entitled to a partial summary judgment on the question of Trump's liability in the case. He cited the fact that jurors at a trial in a separate but related lawsuit in May found that Trump sexually abused Carroll in a New York department store in the mid-90s and defamed her in statements he made when he denied her allegations last fall. Also, on the other side of things, is America ready for another impeachment? Kevin McCarthy is pushing forward with an impeachment query or inquiry on President Biden and also a potential government shutdown here. However, As we move forward with this, it looks like the vote here will need every single Republican's vote um, for the initial vote here in the House of Representatives. McCarthy's talks of an impeachment inquiry involving President Biden brings additional risks for his party. So I think we're going to need that going forward here. Will the Republicans do that? I also think, personally, I think that Kevin McCarthy is delaying this a bit to make it a little bit closer to election time. Remember that election time is still about a year and 2 months away. So it's still quite a bit a ways from election time. I think that they're not trying to rush this, if you just ask me personally. So I think, a year and 2 months is still quite a ways from election time. I know people think, oh, election time's coming around. It's still a long time from elections. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Some people think that he's slow rolling this, slow walking this. I think the Republicans are going to do an impeachment hearing. Remember that Republicans can pass an impeachment in the House with no Democratic votes. Okay. An impeachment is unlikely to pass in the Senate, similar to what happened to former President Donald Trump, where they can pass it in the House, but they cannot pass it in the Senate, where they would not be able to get enough votes in the Senate. Um, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Will the Republicans push forward with this all the way? As they're looking like they're going to do this. Kevin McCarthy has gotten some criticism for not speed walking this or pushing this very, very fast. I think that he's going to do this. Will it be 2024 when he does this? I mean, we're already here in September. Should he do it in 2023, 2024? You got to remember there's politics involved with this. It's literally the name of the game is politics. So we will see. I honestly think they might have a harder time passing a government shutdown or keeping the government open before that, because that's a more pressing thing. Government, impeaching the president can happen at any given time. And there's plenty of time to do that before the next election. Government shutdown, however, you remember Congress coming back from recess and the next recess and the next recess. Um, and remember that recesses really mean that they, in between recesses, they go back to their states to work. And, having Republicans and Democrats divided in Congress is always a thing. Democrats have their own agendas and Republicans have their own agendas. And I think this time keeping the government open is going to be maybe even more challenging. And also, Mitch McConnell's health in the Senate is going to be even more of a challenge here. I don't even know what Republicans are going to do with Mitch McConnell in the Senate, with him having several more years. Um, Let me know your thoughts on this. I honestly, I think he should retire. Um, God bless him. For anybody, in their 80s trying to work in Congress, especially once you start to run into health conditions, it, I think it's time to retire. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything happening here on a daily basis. So if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to like and share these videos. Click here to see the new mandates that are happening here right now in our country. Or click here to see the 2 new warnings the Bank of America has just sent out for millions of Americans. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.